Brentwood, Los Angeles. A neighborhood where privacy comes with a multi-million-dollar price tag. And perfection isn't just desired, it's expected. The 911 call came at 6:43 a.m. on May 15, 2023. The housekeeper's voice trembled with terror as she told the dispatcher about the blood. So much blood. The body of 42-year-old Priya Sharma lay in the master bedroom of her Spanish-style mansion, stabbed 37 times. What police initially thought was a home invasion would soon unravel into something far more disturbing. A forbidden relationship across cultural and generational lines that ended in brutal murder. News spread quickly through the exclusive neighborhood. Local stations interrupted morning broadcasts with breaking headlines: tech executive's wife murdered in Brentwood. Bloody crime scene shocks exclusive LA neighborhood. Neighbors gathered behind police tape, whispering about the perfect couple who lived in the perfect house. Before diving deeper into this shocking case, viewers should subscribe and hit the notification bell. This documentary contains sensitive content as it examines the tragic events that led to Priya Sharma's death. 15 years before her violent death, Priya had left behind a promising dance career in Mumbai when she married Vikram Sharma. Friends described her as extraordinary, classically trained in traditional dance since childhood. Everyone who met her was struck by her grace and poise. Vikram was a rising star in the tech industry whose software company would eventually be valued at over $200 million. Their wedding in India had been lavish, a union of two respected families, a celebration that lasted 5 days. She did everything that was expected, her sister later told investigators. The perfect wife, the perfect hostess. She built their social circle from nothing when they moved to America. But Vikram's success came with a price. As Vikram's business expanded globally, he traveled more than 200 days each year, leaving Priya increasingly isolated in their Brentwood mansion. Security footage would later show her wandering through empty rooms, eating elaborate meals alone, speaking to no one for days at a time. Mrs. Sharma was alone so much, her housekeeper revealed. In the beginning, she had many parties, many friends. But slowly, fewer people came. Mr. Sharma was always gone. Singapore, Tokyo, Mumbai, she would prepare these beautiful meals and eat by herself. Priya volunteered weekly at the local Indian cultural center, teaching dance to children. Her smile never quite reached her eyes. She was always perfectly dressed, perfectly composed, the cultural center director remembered. None of us knew what she was going through privately. In our community, you don't discuss marital problems. 3 doors down from the Sharma residence lived the Maxwell family, whose 19-year-old son Aidan would become inextricably linked to Priya's fate. Aidan was handsome, talented, and deeply unsatisfied with his life. His black and white photography won local awards, capturing moments of urban isolation that reflected his inner state. Aidan was different, his closest friend would later testify. Into photography and foreign films when everyone else was playing video games. His dad wanted him to study business, but Aidan was an artist. That tension at home was constant. His film professor noted the maturity in his work, but also something melancholic, a sense of isolation that permeated every image. After high school, Aidan deferred college to pursue photography, much to his father's disapproval. With divorced parents and a fractured home life, he lacked the stability and validation he craved. While Priya stood alone in her kitchen preparing elaborate meals no one would eat, Aidan spent hours in his darkroom developing photographs few people would see. Two souls isolated by circumstances, living just houses apart. He was always searching for meaning, his roommate later told police. Deep connections. He talked about feeling understood. That no one in his life really saw him. In January 2023, these two isolated souls would cross paths when Priya hired Aidan to photograph their home renovation for Vikram's birthday, a digital coffee table book showcasing their Brentwood life. It was supposed to be just business. The neighbor kid was affordable and had talent. She was supporting a young artist while getting quality work for her project. Security footage from those early sessions shows them maintaining appropriate distance, both physically and conversationally. They were polite, professional. No one watching would suspect what was coming. Neither could have imagined that 4 months later, Their forbidden relationship would end with Priya Sharma bleeding out on her bedroom floor, stabbed 37 times by the young man who claimed to love her. What began as a strictly professional arrangement between Priya Sharma and Aidan Maxwell evolved through subtle shifts, moments of connection almost imperceptible at first, but that would ultimately set them on a collision course with tragedy. The home renovation photography sessions started in January with proper formality. Priya would prepare the rooms, and Aidan would arrive with his equipment, photographing architectural details and design elements for what was supposed to be a surprise gift for Vikram. 3 one-hour sessions were initially booked. Security footage from the Sharma residence showed these early interactions were brief and businesslike. By February, a pattern emerged. Aidan's visits extended from 1 hour to 2, then 3. Security cameras captured them reviewing photos together, sitting at first with professional distance between them on the living room sofa, Priya pointing at images on Aidan's laptop. "I noticed she started preparing food when he was coming," the housekeeper later told detectives. "Not just snacks, but traditional Indian dishes that took hours to make. She said he was interested in Indian culture, but the way she arranged everything, it was different from how she served other visitors." Text messages recovered from their phones revealed the gradual shift in their relationship. Initially, the messages were strictly about scheduling and photography details. By mid-February, they began discussing Indian cinema. "If you truly want to understand our cinema, you must start with Ray's APU trilogy," Priya texted. "The cinematography will speak to you." Aidan responded, "I'll watch anything you recommend. Your perspective is fascinating to me." Several days later, "Just finished APU trilogy. Profoundly beautiful. Can we discuss tomorrow?" For Priya, Aidan represented both a connection to American culture and an appreciative audience for her heritage, something her husband had long since taken for granted. For Aidan, Priya offered something he'd never experienced, undivided attention from someone who took his artistic aspirations seriously. "He talked about her constantly," Aidan's friend later recalled. "At first, it was Mrs. Sharma showed me these amazing films or Mrs. Sharma explained this cultural thing. We didn't think anything of it. She was just the Indian lady he was working for." Dr. Emily Lawson, forensic psychologist, analyzed the relationship dynamics. "What we see in these early interactions is a textbook case of two emotionally vulnerable people filling voids in each other's lives. She provided maternal validation while simultaneously offering exotic cultural knowledge he found fascinating. He offered youthful admiration and attention she was starved for." The text messages grew more personal through late February. "Vikram cancelled our anniversary plans again. Business emergency in Singapore," Priya wrote. "His loss. You deserve someone who appreciates you," Aidan replied. Security footage from March 2nd showed a pivotal moment. Priya crying in her kitchen, Aidan awkwardly placing his hand on her shoulder. It was their first physical contact beyond a formal handshake. The decisive shift in their relationship occurred during Holi, the Indian festival of colors, when Priya hosted a small cultural celebration at her home in early March. Home video footage captured by another guest showed Priya explaining the tradition to Aidan, demonstrating how to apply the colored powders. "It was a beautiful day," one friend remembered. "Priya seemed happier than she had in months. I remember seeing her explaining the tradition to Aidan, showing him how to apply the colors. There was something in the way they looked at each other, but I dismissed it. She was married. He was so young." Careful examination of the footage revealed a lingering touch as Priya applied colored powder to Aidan's cheek, her fingers remaining against his skin several seconds longer than necessary. Their eyes locked in a way that, in retrospect, clearly communicated mutual attraction. With Vikram traveling through Asia for an extended business trip that March, Tokyo, Singapore, Mumbai, the photography sessions became longer, the conversations deeper. Cell phone tower data displayed a telling pattern. Nightly text exchanges often lasting until 2 or 3 a.m. Their phone records show a remarkable escalation, tech analyst James Chen reported. By early April, they were exchanging over 200 messages daily, with peak communication between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m., when both should have been sleeping. Security footage captured their first kiss on April 3rd at 7:42 p.m. It was tentative, brief, and followed by Priya stepping back with visible conflict on her face. She said something the camera didn't record. Aiden nodded. But he didn't leave. Instead, they moved to the sofa where they sat close together, his arm eventually coming around her shoulders. What followed was a rapid intensification as cultural taboos, age differences, and marital vows gave way to a relationship both knew was forbidden. Credit card statements showed meal purchases for two at restaurants in neighboring cities, far from where they might be recognized. A hotel receipt from April 17th was later found in Aiden's apartment. I saw his car there at strange hours, one neighbor admitted. Once very early in the morning. But I never suspected. I thought maybe he was photographing the sunrise or something for their project. Aiden's roommate noticed changes. He started staying out all night. Said he was doing nighttime photography projects. He became secretive, protective of his phone. Started wearing cologne, buying new clothes. For investigators, photos recovered from Aiden's cloud storage told the story their text messages tried to hide. The progression was evident, from formal portrait subject to intimate muse. Early images showed Priya posed formally in her home. Later ones captured her with hair down, laughing, unguarded. The final series, taken in late April, showed her in intimate settings, her face often partially obscured but unmistakably vulnerable. While both participated in the relationship, they experienced it very differently. Text messages revealed Aiden's growing emotional intensity. I've never felt this way about anyone. You understand me like no one else ever has. We were meant to find each other. Priya's responses showed more restraint, more awareness of reality. This is complicated, Aiden. We need to be careful. I don't know what this means for my future. By late April, the warning signs began to appear. Aiden started driving past the house when not expected. His texts showed increasing possessiveness. Who was that man you were talking to at the cultural center? Why didn't you answer my calls last night? I can't stand thinking about you with him. What had begun as an inappropriate connection had blossomed into a full affair, one that would soon spiral beyond either's control as spring progressed. The relationship between Priya Sharma and Aiden Maxwell intensified. But beneath the surface of their secret affair, dangerous currents were forming that would eventually pull them both under. By early May, Aiden's behavior showed clear signs of obsession. Surveillance cameras from neighboring houses captured his car parked on nearby streets for hours, often late at night when Vikram was home. Cell phone data placed him circling the Sharma residence even when he had no planned visits with Priya. It's classic stalking behavior, explained forensic psychologist Dr. Lawson. What began as mutual attraction evolved into fixation and possessiveness. The age gap played a significant role. His emotional immaturity combined with intense first love created a volatile situation. In Aiden's apartment, police would later discover a journal that chronicled his darkening thoughts. Early entries showed romantic idealization of Priya. She sees me in ways no one else ever has. We speak without words. Two souls recognizing each other across time. But by late April, the entries took a disturbing turn. Watched her with him today. She smiled at him like she smiles at me. How can she pretend like that? Does she pretend with me too? She didn't answer for 3 hours. 3 hours. Then claims she was at the cultural center. Need to verify. Can't sleep knowing she's in bed with him. Our connection is real. His is just a legal document. Text exchanges recovered from their phones revealed Priya's growing unease. I think we need to take a step back, she wrote on May 3rd. This has become too intense. Aiden responded, you don't mean that. What we have is real. Don't let fear dictate your heart. When she didn't reply for several hours, he sent 12 consecutive messages, ending with, I'm coming over to talk about this in person. Priya replied quickly, No. Please don't. Vikram is home. I'll call you tomorrow. The pressure of their secret relationship and Aiden's increasing demands began taking a visible toll on Priya. Security footage from the cultural center showed her looking distracted, checking her phone constantly, losing weight. On May 7th, surveillance cameras at a Hindu temple 20 miles from Brentwood captured Priya entering alone, staying for over 2 hours. The temple priest later told investigators she had sought guidance without revealing specifics. She spoke of making a terrible mistake, he recalled. Something that dishonored her marriage and family. She asked about atonement, about starting fresh. She was very emotional, crying as she left. What Priya didn't know was that Aiden had followed her. Parking lot cameras showed him watching from his car as she entered and exited the temple. His journal entry that night read, "She's trying to erase me. Seeking permission from her gods to pretend we never happened. I won't be erased." The next morning, Priya received a text that chilled her. "Did you find the answers you were looking for at the temple yesterday? Did your gods tell you it's okay to throw away what we have?" Her response came hours later. "You followed me? Aiden, this isn't healthy. For either of us. We need to stop." His reply, "We're past the point of stopping. You know that." Bank records showed Priya withdrew $5,000 cash the following day, an unusually large amount for her. Her online activity included searches for one-way flights to Mumbai and what to do if someone is threatening you. On May 10th, she received a series of increasingly disturbing messages from Aiden. "You don't get to just walk away from me. I can't live without you. Does Vikram know where you go when he's traveling? I still have all the photos. The ones no one else has seen." The implicit threat in Aiden's messages triggered renewed communication from Priya. The housekeeper reported that during that final week, Priya appeared terrified, constantly checking windows and doors, jumping at every sound. "She asked me twice to make sure all windows were locked, even during daytime," the housekeeper testified. "She never did that before." Financial records revealed Priya booked a one-way flight to Mumbai departing May 16th, a ticket she would never use. Email correspondence with her sister in India, recovered from her laptop, contained a cryptic message. "I need to come home for a while. Don't tell anyone, not even Vikram. We'll explain when I arrive. Keep this between us." On May 12th, Priya finally contacted Aiden with what investigators believe was a strategic plan to end the relationship definitively. "We need to talk, properly, face to face." "You're finally being reasonable," he responded. "When?" "Friday night. Vikram has a late meeting downtown. Come at 8. Aiden's internet history in the days before the murder showed a disturbing progression. Searches for how to tell if someone is lying, signs she's leaving you, and most concerning, how to make someone stay with you forever. His credit card records showed purchases that would later become evidence. Duct tape, a hunting knife, cleaning supplies from a hardware store in a neighboring town. Store security footage showed him making these purchases with an eerily calm demeanor. On the morning of May 15th, the day that would end with Priya's death, her final preparations were underway. She called a travel agency to confirm her flight details. She transferred $10,000 to her personal account in India. She purchased additional luggage. At 2:14 p.m., she sent Aiden a final text message. 8 p.m. Please come to the side door. We need to resolve this situation. His reply was simply, I agree. Tonight, we fix everything. At 5:37 p.m., Priya made her final phone call to her husband Vikram, who was at his downtown office preparing for a late business dinner. The call lasted 3 minutes and 17 seconds. Phone records indicate she called him, not the reverse. She sounded normal, Vikram later told police. She said she was cooking, asked when I'd be home, reminded me about a charity event that weekend. Nothing seemed wrong. Nothing at all. Security footage from the kitchen showed Priya preparing an elaborate Indian meal after the call, butter chicken, naan bread, and vegetable biryani. Her movements were methodical, her face composed but tense. It would be the last meal she ever cooked, found untouched on the dining table the next morning. The evening of May 15th, 2023 began with an elaborate Indian dinner prepared by Priya Sharma, butter chicken, naan bread, and vegetable biryani. A meal later found untouched on the dining room table. Forensic analysis revealed she had spent over 2 hours preparing this final meal, perhaps to soften the blow of ending her relationship with Aiden Maxwell, or perhaps to maintain the illusion of normalcy until the last possible moment. Detective Ramirez established a precise timeline based on digital evidence, security footage, and forensic analysis. By 7:30 p.m., Priya had finished cooking. She changed into a blue silk tunic and black pants, dressed nicely but not intimately. She lit candles in the dining room but not in the bedroom. All actions consistent with someone planning a serious conversation, not a romantic encounter. Neighborhood security cameras captured Aidan's calculated approach. Rather than parking in the Sharma driveway as he typically did for his photography sessions, he parked his car 3 blocks away and approached on foot, keeping to shadows between streetlights. This behavior suggests premeditation, noted the prosecutor during the trial, not a crime of passion as the defense would later claim. At 8:02 p.m., the Sharma's Ring doorbell recorded Aidan arriving at the side entrance. He looked directly at the camera, his expression unsettlingly calm. The smart home system logged the door unlocking at 8:03 p.m., followed by light activations in the entryway and dining room. At 8:05 p.m., the house's sound system began playing classical Indian music, gradually increasing in volume over the next hour. Tech analyst James Chen reconstructed movements throughout the house using the Sharma's integrated smart home technology. Their home was fully automated, creating a digital record of activity. We tracked motion through different rooms, light switches being activated, even water usage. Based on physical evidence and digital forensics, investigators reconstructed what likely happened. The evening began in the dining room. Wine glasses showed both their DNA, and both had consumed small amounts. But the food remained untouched, suggesting the conversation turned serious immediately. At 8:37 p.m., the smart speaker recorded a voice command, "Alexa, volume 10, likely to mask raised voices." An elderly neighbor reported hearing an argument around this time. "I heard raised voices, a man and woman. Then suddenly the music became very loud. I almost called to complain but didn't want to interfere." Forensic analysis showed the confrontation moved from the dining room to the living room. Blood spatter analysis indicated the first physical assault occurred near the fireplace at approximately 8:45 p.m. A broken wine glass and overturned coffee table spoke to the sudden violence that erupted. The blood evidence tells the story of Priya trying to escape, explained forensic blood analyst Dr. Sarah Phillips. Initial droplets in the living room, then a trail leading through the hallway toward the master bedroom. The pattern suggests she was already wounded but still able to flee. Smart home data showed the bedroom door closing and locking at 8:52 p.m. Priya had managed to temporarily barricade herself, likely using her phone to call for help. Phone records showed an attempted 911 call at 8:53 p.m. that disconnected after 3 seconds. The bedroom door had clear damage from being forced open. Based on with splinter analysis, significant force was used, shoulder strikes or kicking that finally breached the door at approximately 8:57 p.m. What happened in that bedroom would only be pieced together through forensic evidence. The level of violence was extreme and deeply personal. Mrs. Sharma suffered 37 stab wounds, testified the medical examiner, primarily to the chest and neck. The overkill nature of the attack suggests extreme emotional rage, not just a desire to kill. The murder weapon came from the Sharma kitchen, a chef's knife from an expensive set that had been a wedding gift from Priya's parents. "There's something particularly tragic about that detail," noted the prosecutor during the trial. After the murder, smart home data showed shower water activating in the master bathroom at 9:47 p.m., running for approximately 12 minutes. Aidan attempted to clean himself, using Priya's shower and trying to wash blood from his clothes. He placed some items in the garbage disposal, which jammed the mechanism, another critical mistake. Between 10 p.m. and 10:25 p.m., activity throughout the house suggested an attempt to stage a robbery. Jewelry boxes were emptied, drawers pulled out, and electronics moved but not taken. The staging was amateurish, Detective Ramirez explained. Valuable electronics were untouched. The most expensive jewelry pieces were still present, just scattered about. At 10:28 p.m., the home security system was activated from outside, something only someone familiar with the house would know to do. Neighborhood cameras captured Aidan leaving the area on foot at 10:32 p.m., taking a different route back to his car than the one he arrived on. His fitness tracker recorded his heart rate throughout the incident, peaking at 174 BPM during the estimated time of the attack, then gradually lowering to 128 BPM as he left the scene. Still elevated, but indicating he was calming down, noted the tech analyst. The data contradicts the defense claim of panic or blackout. Priya Sharma's body remained undiscovered until 6:15 a.m. the following morning when her housekeeper, Maria Gonzalez, arrived for regular cleaning. Her horrified screams were captured by the home's security system before she called 911 at 6:19 a.m. "Please help," she cried to the dispatcher. "My employer, there's blood everywhere. Mrs. Sharma is not moving." First responders arrived at 6:27 a.m., confirming what was immediately apparent, a brutal homicide. Veteran officers described it as one of the most violent crime scenes they'd encountered. Despite Aiden's attempts to clean the scene, he left numerous evidence traces that quickly led investigators to him. A partial fingerprint in blood on a light switch. DNA under Priya's fingernails from her defensive wounds. Shoe prints in blood that matched his size and brand. Most damning was digital evidence from the Sharma's smart home system. Data that Aiden hadn't considered when planning the murder. The technology that had silently witnessed their affair also witnessed its brutal conclusion. Within hours of processing the scene, we knew this wasn't a random home invasion, Detective Ramirez stated. And by the end of that first day, all evidence pointed directly to Aiden Maxwell. As the investigation into Priya Sharma's murder rapidly accelerated, Aiden Maxwell's digital footprint became his undoing. His devices contained overwhelming evidence, thousands of messages, photos, and journal entries documenting his obsession. Despite attempts to delete communications, forensic technicians recovered everything. His phone and laptop were a prosecutor's dream, said District Attorney Eleanor Mitchell. We had the full progression from attraction to obsession to premeditation. He'd even installed tracking software on her phone during their relationship, allowing him to monitor her movements. Police located Aiden at his apartment the morning after the murder. Body cam footage showed officers approaching his door at 10:17 a.m. on May 17th. What struck detectives immediately was his eerie calm. He was editing photographs on his computer when they arrived, images of Priya taken weeks earlier. The initial interrogation revealed a disturbing disconnect between his actions and emotional response. "Do you know why you're here today, Aiden?" the detective asked. "I assume it's about Priya," he replied, his voice flat, almost disinterested. Over the next 6 hours of questioning, Aiden maintained this unnatural composure, speaking about the murder as if describing a film he'd watched. When presented with evidence, he simply nodded. "She was going to leave," he finally explained. "I couldn't let that happen. We were meant to be together forever." Court-ordered psychological evaluation diagnosed Aiden with narcissistic personality disorder with obsessive features. He showed classic signs of pathological narcissism, testified Dr. Robert Kerman. Complete lack of empathy, inability to regulate emotions when rejected, and a belief that his needs superseded all moral and legal boundaries. The case ignited a media frenzy, with headlines highlighting the cultural dimensions: Indian immigrants' American dream ends in nightmare, cultural isolation and forbidden love lead to murder, two worlds collide with deadly results. Television crews camped outside the courthouse for what would become Los Angeles' most high-profile murder trial of 2023. The 6-week trial featured damning testimony from digital forensics experts, psychologists, and neighbors who had witnessed the relationship's progression. Aiden's own journal became the prosecution's most powerful evidence, with entries read aloud detailing his growing obsession and murder fantasies. The defense attempted to portray Aiden as a troubled young man manipulated by an older woman, but this narrative collapsed under the weight of evidence showing his calculated pursuit and premeditation. The most devastating testimony came during victim impact statements. Vikram Sharma, composed but hollow-eyed, addressed the court, "I lost my wife twice, first to my own neglect, then to this man's violence. I will carry both burdens forever." Priya's sister spoke of cultural factors that had trapped Priya in her isolation. "In our culture, you don't complain. You don't air private struggles. You maintain dignity and solve problems quietly. This silence cost my sister her life. After just 4 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with a guilty verdict on charges of first-degree murder with special circumstances. Judge Miranda Hamilton sentenced Aidan Maxwell to life imprisonment without possibility of parole, stating, "This court has rarely seen a crime combining such calculation, obsession, and brutality." Throughout sentencing, Aidan remained expressionless, showing the same eerie calm that had characterized his behavior since arrest. His parents, divorced but united in grief, avoided cameras as they left the courthouse for the final time. The aftermath of Priya's murder extended far beyond the courtroom. 3 weeks after sentencing, Vikram Sharma sold their Brentwood home at a significant loss and returned to Mumbai with Priya's ashes. Friends reported he had abandoned his technology empire, transferring leadership to his executive team and retreating from public life. "He couldn't stay in America," explained a close family friend. "Everything here reminded him of her and what he'd missed by being absent so often." The Maxwell family also left Brentwood, facing harassment after their son's conviction. Their home sold quickly, below market value, to buyers seemingly untroubled by its proximity to tragedy. A year after Priya's death, Vikram established the Priya Sharma Foundation for Immigrant Women, dedicated to addressing cultural isolation and domestic support. The foundation created community centers in cities with large South Asian populations, offering counseling, social connections, and resources for women struggling with cultural transition and isolation. "Priya's story resonated deeply with our community," explained Dr. Meera Patel, cultural psychologist and foundation board member. "Many immigrant women recognized themselves in her isolation, maintaining perfect appearances while suffering silently." The case prompted uncomfortable but necessary conversations within immigrant communities about the dangers of cultural silence and isolation. Community leaders organized workshops addressing mental health stigma and the importance of support networks. "The warning signs were there but went unrecognized," noted Dr. Patel. Cultural taboos against discussing marital problems, the pressure to maintain appearances, the lack of close confidants, these created the perfect environment for tragedy. Law enforcement agencies developed new training protocols for recognizing warning signs in cross-cultural contexts. Several police departments enhanced their understanding of cultural factors that might prevent immigrant women from seeking help when threatened. The digital evidence aspect of the case also prompted greater awareness of technology's role in intimate partner violence. Smart home systems, fitness trackers, phones, they're silent witnesses to our lives, explained tech safety advocate Jennifer Morris. They can document abuse but also facilitate stalking and control. For viewers struggling with isolation or relationship concerns, resources are available through national helplines and cultural support organizations. The warning signs of obsession and control, excessive monitoring, isolation from friends and family, threats when rejection occurs, transcend cultural boundaries. 3 years after Priya's murder, her story continues to serve as a powerful reminder that appearance and reality often diverge behind closed doors, and that connection, true, healthy connection, remains our strongest protection against isolation's dangers. If you found this analysis valuable, please subscribe to our channel for more in-depth true crime documentaries that examine the social and cultural dimensions of tragic cases. Remember to share these resources with anyone who might benefit from greater awareness of relationship warning signs.